My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, what separates us between the best days of the world is only a few days. A few days are between us and the first 10 days of the blessed month of Dhul Hijjah. These are days in which Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, these 10 days are the most beloved days to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they are the best days of the world. You see, you and I, each and every single one of us, has moments in life which he considers the best days in his life. Perhaps the day you got married was the best day in your life. Perhaps the day you became a father or a mother, that was the best day in your life. Perhaps the day you graduated and finished school and began work, that was the best day in life. And everyone has best days in life. But the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is saying that these are the best 10 days in the entire world, in the entire life. When Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, just to show you how incredible these days are and how virtuous and how honored these days are, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said that there are no days, don't look for any other days, there are no days in which righteous deeds are more beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than the righteous deeds that are done during these days. These days are the most rewarding days in which you earn reward for your hasanat and for your good deeds. And what does this hadith basically mean? It means that the best fasting you're going to do are in these 10 days. And the best Quran you're going to read and get reward for is reading during these 10 days. And the best sadaqah you're going to give during the entire year is going to be on these days. And the best Salat al-Fajr of the entire year is going to be during these 10 days. And these are the days in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves, Allah azza wa jal rewards and gives double and triple up to 700 times of reward for each and every good deed that is done during these days. And from among these days, there is the day of Arafah. The day of Arafah is going to come and it will be on the 9th day of these 10 days, on the 9th day. Yawm Arafah. This is the day in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself descends to the lowest heaven, and he begins to ask the creation, who seeks his forgiveness, who's seeking his mercy. This is a day of dhikr, this is a day of dua. When Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said there is no day in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala frees servants from the hellfire more than the day of Arafah. Even more than the days of Ramadan. The day of Arafah is the most day of the year in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala frees people from the hellfire. And the day of Arafah is a day in which the best thing to do on that day is to say La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah lahul mulk wa lahul hamdu wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir, renewing that covenant and that contract and that relationship between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by engaging in abundance bi dhikrillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala and declaring a tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, saying La ilaha illallah. That's the day of Arafah. The best thing is to say this dhikr La ilaha illallah and to make dua on that day. That's it. That is the day of Arafah. That is the day of Arafah, to say La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah lahul mulk wa lahul hamdu wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir, and to do dua as much as you can, and to fast this day. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he promised that the one who fasts the day of Arafah, he earns 2 years worth of sins being forgiven, a future year and a past year of sins all being forgiven. And finally, my brothers and sisters in Islam, the best day of these 10 days is the 10th day, which is Yawm al-Nahr, the day of Eid itself. And the best thing to do on that day is to perform the sacrifice. And so if you intend to sacrifice and to offer a qurbah on the 10th day, on the day of Eid, if you intend to do that, then from now, as soon as the first 10 days begin, you're supposed to refrain from clipping your nails, cutting your hair, and removing any skin on any hair from your body, and that is only for the one who intends to do the sacrifice. Otherwise, those who he is sacrificing on their behalf, like the family members, his children, his wife, his mother, his father, and so on, they don't enter into this ruling. For my brothers and sisters in Islam, focus in these 10 days. These days are much more rewarding and more beloved than the days of Ramadan. So we need to be serious and we need to show concern, and don't be distracted by this worldly life. And I end with one final comment. The absolute best thing you can do in these days is what? The best thing you can do in these days is to make plenty of dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah Azza wa Jal, He said in the Quran, وَيَذْكُرُ اسْمَ اللَّهِ فِي أَيَّامٍ مَعْلُومَاتٍ. Allah Azza wa Jal, He legislated upon us that we make mention of His name in these known days. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said that these known days and appointed days are the first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah. فالنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم said in the hadith, فَأَكْثِرُوا فِيهِنَّ مِنَ التَّسْبِيحِ وَالتَّحْمِيدِ وَالتَّهْلِيلِ وَالتَّكْبِيرِ. So recite in abundance, Subhanallah, walhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar. 30 days of Ramadan were days in which we're supposed to live with the Quran. 10 days of Dhul Hijjah now, with dhikrullah, with subhanallah, alhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah, Allahu akbar, wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. If you recite these in abundance, then bi'idhnillahi ta'ala you're doing what is best to be done during these days. This is dhikrullah subhanahu wa ta'ala that would revive the heart and connect it and mend that crack and broken relationship between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to give us the ability to worship Him. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us life until we witness these 10 days. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bestow His pleasure and His mercy and tranquility and His blessings upon us, and that He accept from all of us